Welcome to You Lead the Podcast. I'm Melanie, your transformational coach and mentor, and I created You Lead to break down the stigma that is keeping us small and holding us back from living the lives we dream of. We go beyond the basics to create a life where you are the leading force so you can thrive in your body, relationship, wealth, money, business, and spiritual connections. Where we rewire your nervous system and truly expand into living a free and alive life. In these episodes, we will have juicy conversation full of all the quotes, tools, tips that really work. Anything is possible with a calm nervous system, radical honesty, and where you are the one leading in all areas of your life. I can't wait for you to see the magic waiting for you on the other side of this journey. With that, let's get into the episode. So hi everyone, and welcome to a new episode of You Lead the Podcast. So I'm super excited for this episode today, this topic that I'm going to talk about today, and you know how we take how things suddenly take action or gain momentum when you start being in alignment with yourself, and you make that shift and you take these action steps that are uncomfortable, but you do it, and suddenly you create momentum, and then you have a lot of exciting things and experiences coming through. And that was actually what happened here. After launching the first episode of You Lead, I had two beautiful, inspiring women coming on. They wanted to be on this podcast, and I've been having these conversations with them last week, and that took all the way the time of me to actually produce another episode. But I'm grateful and I'm super excited because these conversations that I had with them are so beautiful and so inspiring. So I'm super just so grateful that even though I wanted to put another episode out of from my podcast, I'm just grateful to have these beautiful conversations with them. It all makes sense, and I'm just looking forward to putting it out so you can listen to them as well. So, but that also meaning by that I'm sitting here right now on the living room floor and trying to make it as cozy as possible, because today's topic is going to be about how understanding your trauma and how trauma actually is something that you are that we all are unconsciously reacting on and living by. And it all makes sense in a minute when I'm actually going to give you the explanation of what trauma is. But it came to me that I wanted to do this episode because I just created a course and module for one of my past clients. He's putting out a course and a coaching course, and she wanted me to be a guest expert on there. So I just created some modules on shadow work, and if you talk about shadow work, you need to talk about trauma and understanding that. So therefore, I actually wanted to do the trauma first and giving you this understanding of that, how it actually affects your body and affects your life in general. And of course, I am planning on putting an episode out on just how to work with your shadows and how profoundly amazing your life can be if you actually understand the effects on trauma and understand how shadow actually is an amazing tool to look at if you want to if you want to transcend your old self, if you really want to tap into what you are capable of, or if you really want to lose those heavy emotions, that overthinking, that procrastinating, and all these self-sabotaging these self-sabotaging patterns that you have in your day-to-day life. We need to look at that, but that is also for another episode, because today we're going to talk about trauma, how trauma actually is existing in your body and running your day-to-day life. Right. So when we talk about trauma, the definition I use is that trauma is the result of you being in a situation where you felt unsafe, where emotions have been present and resulted in your psyche splitting, hiding the experience deep in your unconscious. The emotions get stored in your body and as a way to protect yourself and survive. So trauma is when I started to look at like working with personal development and understanding and trying to really understand my anxiety back then, when I struggled with anxiety I had it for so long that when people were talking about trauma, I back then luckily haven't had any experience with big trauma. And the only thing I thought of trauma was that it should be something really really crazy big thing happening to you, as for instance sex assaults or near death experiences. But trauma is just that. It's just an experience, and experience in a situation where you somehow felt unsafe because you had a lot of emotion going on at the same time, and in resulting that your body simply cannot hold all this emotion, and your psyche, like your conscious or your unconscious mind, cannot hold onto all of it. So it splits to really splits in different parts of you and gets stored in your body so that you can survive. It's your subconscious trying to help you survive in the situation that you're in. So even though the situation that you think of should be a big trauma, like near-death experience, of course, they are big. And that's also why we see a lot of people struggling afterwards, because they are really making havoc in your body and in your day-to-day life. But we also hear, when we talk about trauma, when I talk about trauma, we have also these small t traumas. And what I mean by that is that when you experience something that makes your body and your psyche having that overload of emotion present, it just instantly goes into this lockdown. Locking that emotion, hiding it from you, suppressing it, and storing it in your body. Which means that even though this situation has stopped, even though you've moved on, your body will still feel like it's in that same situation still. So it will feel like it's running like this situation on repeat, and if you experience something that gives you the same feelings, your body will then feel it's in the same dangerous place as it was beforehand, right? So just to give you an example of what I mean by how small T traumas can be stored in your body and be this thing that is actually running how you're running your life, could be, for instance, as a child, you feeling neglected. It could be like that your parents went out to get something and you felt like they left you and you were all alone. And as a child, we then become emotional, right? And if your parents then would give you the speech of "don't cry," it's silly to cry. That was silly to cry. We were just out grabbing something. You can internalize that as feeling shameful or having guilt around that you felt emotional and scared that your parents weren't there and that you couldn't find them. And these emotions, like these several emotions at once, can be stored in your body as a small T trauma, then growing bigger and bigger and bigger as an adult, because your body still feels this sensation of being neglected. And then being an adult, these emotion and sensation then makes your body always feeling like we are in the same situation as back then. So these small T traumas can then manifest in how do you say it, in personal traits, in shadow traits. So if you've been feeling neglected as a child and having that as an experience, and these emotions in your body then make you as an adult, if you feel neglected, it can make you be overly people pleasing to others, because then they wouldn't like leave you again as an adult. So if you find yourself that you're people pleasing a lot, that could probably be because you're running on a small trauma from back then. It could also be you always like somehow avoiding relationships, because then then you are not in the situation of being someone that can be neglected again. So they can show up as different patterns and different behaviors if you're not aware of them. They can come as these unconscious patterns that you, if you're not aware of them, is actually the same thing running your life. And again, we're going back to how we are wired in our nervous system, how we wired in our thoughts and behaviors, and I will preach this to the end of that I die, that you are only 1% conscious of what you're doing. Right? You're only 1% conscious of what you're doing. The rest is running in your unconscious programming, in your nervous system. And the traumas and the thoughts and the emotions are all stored in your unconscious mind, in your unconscious system, your subconscious part of you. So even though you're logically trying to explain yourself out of things, and though you're logically saying, I'm not like that, you have an unconscious programming. If not resolved, if not healed, if not rewired from your nervous system, it will dysregulate your nervous system and making you repeat these patterns. And when we talk about trauma, we also really need to talk about your nervous system, because everything regarding to trauma, regarding to all these emotions, regarding to the stories and the experience you have, are stored in your nervous system. So if you have these small, what seems as small, insignificant situation, these small t traumas, if they are stored in your nervous system, you will then, if not resolved, repeat this trauma cycle where you get triggered because something happens right now that is triggering your body in the sensation of that sensation that they are trying to feel, to keep you safe from. So so your nervous system gets triggered from a situation and experience. If you, for instance, want to, become healthier and start eating healthier, and you have something in you that wants to keep you safe from actually becoming healthy, because probably there will be then an experience of someone saying something to you or giving compliments, and you're not like your nervous system have had an experience of, you're not worthy of receiving that kind of compliments. So you get triggered. Your body will then get triggered, and that will then re-traumatize your nervous system. So now you're having even more trauma in your body, and it then can react to stress. So that can react in that you then become on any sort of anger, or you will then have an outburst or panic attacks, or you try to numbing it, or you're trying to use humor, or you're trying to overeat, drinking, or self-harm, because you're triggered and you re-traumatize your nervous system, and then it resolves into more stress, right? It resolves into giving that outburst. And then you're trying to cope with different things or avoid it. So you might try to self-soothe, right? You try to, you cry, or you try to blame yourself, or you tell yourself what you want to know. And you numb it, and you use humor to, blow it off, and drinking, avoidance. And then giving that illusion of having that self-control, because you just dissociate from the situation, and you're not recognizing that you are playing out in what I call in the shadow traits of everything. And then you guess what? The trauma cycle continues. Then you get triggered again, and then you re-traumatize your nervous system again, and then you react to the stress with different outbursts and unconscious behavior. Then you try to cope it and avoid it, and then you have the illusion of you have control over it, and then you repeat the cycle again until you do this thing where we go in and heal the root cause of what is making your nervous system dysregulated from the first place. And it's not taking the experience, not neglecting or not being true to what you've been experiencing, Because trauma is trauma, and it's in situation that you have experienced. Even the small traumas, even you being neglected as a child, or feeling not listened to, or feeling not loved as a child, and also these big T traumas where you definitely shouldn't have been in a situation that you've been put through. And I know all about big T traumas, unfortunately. So we're not giving this another story. We're not saying that it never happened. We're not trying to suppress it and hide it, because guess what? Then it will explode to the surface anyway. What we're doing with the work by healing your nervous system and by regulating your nervous system is to take these emotions that are attached and stored in your body, that are making you feeling this way, that are making you be triggered, that are making your body being in a dis-ease state, giving you health problems, giving you physical symptoms. We are removing and dissolving these emotions attached to the story. The story is the story, but that it's the emotion that is stored to, then connected to the story, that is making your nervous system dysregulated. So you can become neutral and grounded in a state of a regulated nervous system, where you know you've been through what you've been through, but it is not making you triggered anymore. It will indefinitely also make you feel calm and make you feel grounded, and you will see that people cannot not wave you as much before, and you will experience that you're not having these outbursts, or you're not frustrated, or you're feeling tired or exhausted, because we removed the energy stored in your body related to the trauma. And that's why I'm so passionate about working with the nervous system if you want to thrive in all areas of your life, because you need to have that regulated nervous system that is having that safety in your nervous system when you desire to achieve something. And that is exactly what we're going to do in the program Thrive, where we get you out of this survival mode and into thriving mode, where we rewire your nervous system to dissolve the lack of safety, and we're bringing you through those parts of you that have been suppressed or hidden, so that you can heal. And we regulate your nervous system so that you have this baseline of solid and neutral, calm, grounded state, where you're not being triggered when you're trying to achieve the things that you desire. So this is perfect for you if you desire to experience this calm, grounded, and a relaxed nervous system. And when you want to experience running your business and your life from a relaxed place and alignment, where if you want to heal physical symptoms like bloating, weight, or hair loss, and you want to experience no longer getting triggered and lashing out, but things just move through you, like it just moves past you without you even realizing. Or just want to be more present with your kids and your partner so you feel fulfilled and no longer want to wake up, experience anxiety, but just feeling the feeling of joy and gratefulness for waking up each day and having this life that you have. So in Thrive, it's all about you and giving you this solid foundation so that you can build on top of that and that you can navigate through the highs and the lows. So if that is something for you, right now I have an early bird pricing where you can save up to 300 euros on the program. So make sure to tap into the link below in the descriptions if you really want to know more on Thrive program, or if you're just feeling ready, just sign up. You can always DM me on Instagram if you have any questions regarding the program. So I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, please like and share this with anyone that you feel like sharing it to, and tag me if you're sharing it on your social media platforms. And by that, I just want to wish you a great day, and see you in the next episode.